I'm Cheryl Oberkircher. I am the secretary for One Love Spirit Center and here to welcome you today for our live stream Sunday service. I know John has something special to say just for you. One love.
Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. But look for the good in everyone. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. It's time to look for the good in everything, yeah. Hey, oh. I love this song, yeah. Sing along if you know it. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. People done gone crazy. Some people are mad. People done forgot the superpowers we all have. We were born to love, not hate. We can despite our fate. Look for the good in everyone. Celebrate all our mistakes. If there's a silver lining, hey, oh, you still have to find it, find it, find it. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Everyone needs sunshine. Everyone needs rain. Everyone is carrying around some kind of pain. Hey, I see who you are. You're just like me. I see you're searching for your purpose. You're guided by a dream. I see who you are. I'm just like you. You see, I get lost sometimes, man. I forget what I came here to do. But I keep on trying. How many try with me? Even when it gets frightening, frightening, frightening. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good now. Look for the good. You need to look for the good in everyone. I bet you if you look for the good, you'll find it somewhere in there. That lesson becomes a blessing, y'all. I love this verse right here. I'm singing this to all y'all now. Everyone is nature, but everyone is God. Everyone is love and light and vibration. Look for the good. Look for the good. Everybody gets mad sometimes. Sometimes they should. Look for the good. Look for the good. Hey, look out for all those heroes right in your neighborhood. Look for the good. Look for the good. I know this life sure would be sweeter if everybody would. Yeah. Look for the good in everything. Look for the good. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Come on, right where you are, sing with me. Yeah. Look for the good in everything. Yeah, look for the good. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone.
Sunrise doesn't last all morning. Cloudburst doesn't last all day. It seems my love has left you with no warning. It's not always gonna be this way. Pass away. Sunset doesn't last all evening. Your mind can blow those clouds away. And after all this month is up in my sweet evening, not always gonna be this way. All things must pass. All things must pass away. All things must pass. No live streams can last, so I must be on my way. Face another day. This darkness only stays in the night time. In the morning it will fade away. Daylight is good and arriving at just the right time. It's not always gonna be this way. All things must pass. All things must pass away. All things must pass. All things must pass away. All things must pass. All things must pass away.
Good morning. So glad you're here. Gather on in. Make sure you share this live stream to your page. You can send it through Messenger. Also, send a text to somebody who's not on Facebook and say, hey, you can check us out on YouTube. We're streaming to YouTube and to Facebook both at the same time. So, you get access to it, and folks who are not Facebookers also get access to it. So glad that you're here today, and I'm thankful for this day that we have to celebrate together, continuing our series on loving beyond the veil. And our overarching series for the whole year is getting beyond the veil. It's unveiling what it truly means, I think, to be a spiritual person to be connected to and very aware of and awake to the reality of the consciousness, that strand of consciousness that's eternal and that you're a part of. And so I'm very thankful for that today. Ryan added his gift and talent to us today. George Harrison of the Beatles. And if you know anything about Ryan, you know that he is mildly obsessed with the Beatles. But the 25th of February was George Harrison's birthday. And so that's one of the reasons he wanted to share that song with us. All Things Must Pass. So it's a wonderful day to be alive and to be well. I'm so thankful to be getting better and better every day. My energy is starting to return. Feeling so good. I'm thankful for all of that. Keeping those vitamins going, pacing myself, but I'm glad to be feeling so much better. And thank you for all your prayers, your concerns, and all the love, the little gifts that have been sent. Just thank you. So sweet. Our board sent, I think it's called Spoonful of Comfort. It was chicken soup and rolls like Mama used to make, and some chocolate chip cookies that I may have eaten most of. So thankful just for the little things that you've done and the love that you've shared. Carrie and I are both very thankful for that. It is the Love Month, and it's also Black History Month, and I want to celebrate that each week during this month. Now, we're going to make an announcement about what's going on next month. We'll also be celebrating. I want us to be relevant and culturally aware. We're not just here to teach spiritual principles. We're also here to highlight practical things that are going on in our world so that we can be more understanding of each other. And we'll talk a little bit more about the aspects of true love here in just a few moments. But Whitley Phipps is a fantastic singer. He's more classically kind of trained. And he did a version a few years ago of Amazing Grace that just astounded me. I sat and I listened to the intro as he talked about the slave ships, and the writer of the song Amazing Grace, how he had an epiphany that changed the way he saw people. He began to see African people as human beings, and he realized he was a wretch. That's why in the song it says, "Saved a wretch like me." He saw the wretchedness of his livelihood, which was captain of a boat that took slaves from Africa, brought them to the United States and to other parts of Europe. And so Whitley Phipps shares that in this video that I wanted to share with you. One of my favorite songs really of all time and of the church, Amazing Grace, but he gives a wonderful history about it. It's a little lengthy video, but I think it's going to be well worth it for you and you'll enjoy it. So Whitley Phipps, take it away, brother.
This has been an awesome night, isn't it, everyone? This one. How many of you like Negro spirituals? An old black lady down south showed me something about the Negro spirituals, and I want to share it with you. The black folk down south had more sense by accident than some of us have on purpose. You know what I mean? You didn't hear what I said. I heard an old black lady say, "Son, if the mountain was smooth, you couldn't climb it." Think about that for a minute. But did you know, she said to me, did you know just about all Negro spirituals are written on the black notes of the piano? This is absolutely true. You can go home tonight and play almost any Negro spiritual, just play the black notes on the piano. You look skeptical. Now, you can't see it out there, but I want you to watch. Watch. There are 5 black notes on the piano. And those same 5 black notes just keep recurring. And you can go home tonight and play almost any Negro spiritual, just play the black notes. Watch. You know that? Every time I feel the spirit, just black notes. Watch this. That's because the slaves didn't come to America with do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's somebody else's scale, okay? All they had in their musical scale were those 5 black notes. We know it in music as the pentatonic scale. And they built the power and pathos of the Negro spiritual on 5 notes. When you study music, you also come across what are known as white spirituals. Did you know that? And they are white composers who work with that scale. In early America, they used to call this the slave scale. And I'm going to play for you what some musicologists think is the most famous white spiritual built on the slave scale or just the black notes. Anybody tonight know who wrote that song? I heard it, a man by the name of John Newton. But do you know what John Newton did before he became a Christian? He was the captain of a slave ship. And many believe heard this melody that sounds very much like a West African sorrow chant and wrote the words Amazing Grace and set his words to a slave melody. I looked up that song. I believe God wanted that song written just the way it was written, just so that we would be reminded that as Christians, whether black or white, free or bond, in his eyes, we're all connected. We are connected, and we are connected by God's amazing grace. Hallelujah! We are connected by God's amazing grace. Woo! I looked up that song in the Library of Congress. I went to the Library of Congress, I looked up that song, and wherever you see it authentically printed, you know what it says? Words, John Newton, melody unknown. I tell the Lord, when I get to heaven, I want to meet Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, but boy, I want to meet that slave called unknown. And I recorded that song the way I hear it. When I sing it, I still hear the sounds of the slave ships in the water. I want to sing it for you the way John Newton probably first heard it, coming up out of the belly of the ship. Listen. How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, And when we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've known less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Hallelujah, hallelujah, amen.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. John Newton realized the evil that he was engaged in and had that epiphany, that reborn and rebirthing experience. We did notice a few moments ago a little bit of an interruption. I'm kind of surprised at that, but Facebook and YouTube apparently flagged this because of copyright issues. We don't own the copyrights to a lot of the music that we have on here, but we do pay royalties. But they flagged it for some reason, but we're going to just keep moving on through. So hopefully we'll give time for some folks to get back in. Carrie's going to let me know. I'm not sure why it was interrupted, but it is what it is. I mean, they own these platforms, and so we can only do what we can do inside of the parameters of what they offer us. I felt like that song was really important for today because I wanted to talk about 5 aspects of true love. We've been talking about loving beyond the veil for the month of February, and our overarching theme for the whole year is getting beyond the veil. And so we're looking at how to unveil, how to take the labels off, how to remove these labels that have been put on us, how to reboot from the conditioning that we've had. All of us have been raised in a certain societal environment. All of us have been taught certain things. Some of those things are good and some of those things are not so good. I talked about it on a midweek connection on Wednesday. Being careful that you hold on to your beliefs loosely. You are not your beliefs. You're one who is capable of believing, but you are not your beliefs. And being able to know that and live from that space that I'm very loosely holding my beliefs. And I'm more actually interested in being open to the knowing, the eternal knowing, the wisdom of the ages and the sages, the wisdom of spiritual reality, than I am holding on to some kind of a dogma or belief. One of the things that One Love Spirit Center is endeavoring to do is to reinvent and represent God to humanity. God has been represented in really some reprehensible ways, and we're wanting to represent this essence that's been called God to the whole world. A shift and a change. And a big part of that for us is love, of course. One Love Spirit Center. And we believe that we are all come from that space and place, that source and force of one love. Every one of us do. And whatever your label may be, whatever your race, your color, your creed, your gender identification, your religious identification, whatever it may be, we're all connected. I tell folks this in a humorous way. I'm your redheaded stepbrother, whether you like it or not. Well, bald now, but was a redhead at one time. Our connection is irrevocable and eternal. And love is what really holds it all together. So I wanted to look at 5 aspects of love. Number 1, loving kindness. That's number 1, loving kindness. A desire to bring joy to the one you say you love. And here's the quote. Understanding is the essence of true
love. In a relationship, no matter what the relationship is, whether it's partner, husband, wife, friends, neighbors, cousins, siblings, mother, father, sister, brother, whatever those connections are, if we're not seeking to understand each other, we're really missing a powerful aspect of what true love is. To understand, this struck me one day, a couple of years ago. To understand for me is to stand under in a sense of submission. I'm desiring to get why you feel the way you do. If you feel a certain way, instead of being defensive, automatically going to my fences that I've built often around my heart, instead of going there, keeping the heart space open and a desire to stand under for you to teach me what it is that you feel. Why are you feeling the way you're feeling? If we're not seeking to understand each other, I can promise you that we're going to end up in a pretty dark space as the human race. We've experienced some of that darkness where people would just assume have their belief than they had listened to or see the other. If you're not able to see, if you're not desiring to see the other, and you're not desiring to hear what's in their heart, then I question the level of love. So aspect number one of true love is loving kindness. Number two, compassion. I love how the Dalai Lama says, compassion is a necessity, not a luxury. Without it, humanity will not survive. Compassion is a necessity. It is not a luxury. We must bring ourselves into a space of compassion. Compassion, common passion. Common passion. How can we get past the divisions and simply appreciate the diversity? You know, I grew up being told to be colorblind. Just be colorblind and then you won't be racist or whatever. That's another form of racism. To be colorblind is to ignore someone's coloring or how they're coloring their life. Fully embrace all of the colors and appreciate the diversity, and you'll have less division. The root word for division is die. It will cause the relationship to die out. Again, whether it's with a partner, husband, wife, friend, cousin, siblings, whomever it may be, compassion, that common passion to just make the world a better place. It's not a luxury. It is a necessity. And I think it's something we need to get hold of. If we're going to be dogmatic about anything, my invitation is for us to be dogmatic about love and compassion. In fact, the word love is a four-letter word that's often really associated with hurt, pain, and disappointment. I actually lean more toward the word compassion than I do the word love because of how love has been so misused and abused, and people have been abused under the flag of love. A lot of folks think that life is just a sexually transmitted disease. Your mom and dad and all them got together and you showed up and they sexually transmitted a disease into your life called living life. And so many people think it's just that it's terminal and it's incurable. At some point you're going to die from it. That human life is just a sexually transmitted disease. If we see it as that, I promise you, we will start to create that kind of an environment. And then we're not living. But Jesus said, I come to give you life and life more abundant. And John Scott is saying from One Love Spirit Center, I come to give you life and life more abundant. You can find a life of happiness through loving kindness and through compassion. Aspect number three, and this is one I think is very important, joy. It's actually mudita, I think is how you say it in Sanskrit, mudita, joy. There's an aspect of relationship that asks us for joy, and I can tell you this, if there's no joy in your relationship, you can be sure that it's not true love. And if there's not a desire from both people in a relationship to in some way bring joy or make joy available to that other one, it's not true love. If you're in a relationship where there's constant striving and conflict and anger and angst, and you've gotten to the place where you don't even hardly speak to each other, and there's a joy aspect that's missing, and it's not true love. I don't know what it's turned into, but you can be sure if there's no joy in that relationship, it's not true love. And I don't mean that you provide happiness for someone else. That's a choice that we make individually. Happiness is a choice that we make individually. But if I'm really loving you, if it's true that I love you, then I want to bring joy to your life. If in the relationship you're always crying, you're always disappointed, you're always hurt, you're always disillusioned, you feel depressed and oppressed by the relationship, there's one of a couple of things that needs to happen. One, you need to get out of that relationship. Or two, you need to get down and really, really get into some deep talks and some deep understanding with that other individual and try to find your way out of that. Because true love, it brings a desire. Compassion brings a desire in a relationship to bring about joy. I don't want to make my wife cry. I don't want to make my kids cry. Certainly there are things that we do sometimes that disappoint, but my point is that if the majority of the time there's no joy, you need to check that out. It's become toxic. There needs to be joy in it. That's one of the 5 aspects. Number 4, I love this one. Probably out of all of the aspects that came to mind in my time of meditation is this one. Freedom. Freedom. When you truly love from consciousness, you give the gift of freedom to the person you love. You need to understand it's important to live in such a way that the person that you say you love feels free inside and out. Jealousy is not love, y'all. It's not love. If you're jealous and you're all the time checking up on that person that you're with, there's not true love involved there. True love gives freedom as a wonderful gift. I'll probably butcher this. It's a Bob Marley quote that basically says, the beginning of love is the gift of freedom. Giving that freedom aspect to the person that you're in love with or that you say you're in love with, or the persons you say you're in love with, giving them that gift of freedom. And I don't mean that they need it from you, but you give them space to be who they are. That, my friends, is a gift of freedom. And that will cause your relationship to actually, it'll increase the value of the relationship and the worth of the relationship because that the person won't feel stifled in your presence. They'll actually want to be with you because you are bringing in that sense of freedom. When you truly love from consciousness, you give freedom to the person you say you love. When you love from that space of consciousness, I don't want to interfere with you being who you are. You know the reason people say they grow apart? I think one of the big reasons for that is because they're not giving each other enough room to be who they truly are. Now, it doesn't mean that every relationship you come into is for a lifetime. Some relationships are for a season, some for a particular reason, very few for a lifetime. This is one of the reasons I think we have butchered the hell out of marriage in this society, in our Western society, with these ridiculous vows that we make. Oh, baby, I'm going to love you forever. You fulfill me, you complete me. And I'm going to love you forever in sickness and in health and in death do us part. And here's the thing. It's nice, but think about it. This whole honor and obey thing. Why wouldn't our vows speak to, I love you with my whole being. I give to you the gift of my presence. I give to you the gift of freedom to be your true, authentic, and essential self. And if at some point there's a fork in the road, instead of this aspect of ownership, and instead of this aspect of I have papers on you, why wouldn't we give each other the freedom that we need to be who we truly are? And if it just so happens, again, that there's a fork in the road and you happen to be going in different directions, know that you are one with all of humanity anyway, and just send love and light. There's a way for us to do relationships so much better than the way we've been doing it. And freedom is a huge aspect of that. It's one of the 5 aspects. Number 5. Being present. The most precious gift you can give the one you love is your presence. Being fully present. Now, I'm a tech guy. I have a phone, I have an iPad, I have social media stuff going on, and I think it's important for us to put that stuff aside and just be with the ones we love. We're so distracted, and I'm talking to myself too. We get so distracted. How many likes did I get on my photo? We have built a really strong narcissistic society. Selfie this, selfie that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with pictures, but how many of us take a picture and then we just watch that thing for the next couple of hours? How many likes did I get? Did I get some loves in there? Now we have hearts, so let me see if I got some hearts in there. Get any compliments, any comments? And we're just like, we're hanging on the edge of our seat, needing the external and not even being present with the ones we say we love the most, the ones we're supposed to be building our lives with. When Karen and I first got together, I was still in the mortgage business, and she'll tell you probably she's happy that I'm not in the mortgage business anymore. It was nonstop. Texts, emails, phone calls, 10, 11 o'clock at night. Just realtors don't know how to sleep. If they can get a contract, if they can get a qualified letter at 11 o'clock at night, they're going to call you and ask you for it if you're in the mortgage business. Sales often takes that away. Being present. You know what one of the biggest issues is with children and their parents? With children and their parents, one of the biggest issues is not being present. Parents not being available. It's not about toys and stuff. Actually, it's parents often just not being available to their children. And partners, husbands, wives not being available to each other. One of the greatest gifts you can give to a relationship is to be fully present. Being fully present matters more than money, financial security, great sex, or material gifts. And yet we lean into most of those other things rather than just being present. Being able to listen. Being desirous to relieve the suffering of the other. If you find your relationship, you find that there's suffering and there's pain, put it all down. Drop the phone. Drop the TV. Drop the video game controller. Drop whatever is going on that moment and absolutely be there to help relieve the suffering or the pain that's going on in that relationship. Thich Nhat Hanh told a story once, and I'll share it in paraphrase quickly because it was lengthy. There was a man who went to war. Right before he left, drafted to war, his wife had become pregnant. He didn't return for 2 years from war. So when he returned from war, his wife and his 2-year-old child now met him at the airport. The 2-year-old child was apprehensive, didn't know the dad. The wife embraced him, hugged him, they cried together, they laughed together, they drove home together, they laughed and reminisced and talked and all of the things. In their particular culture, it was important for them at big moments to offer up an offering to their ancestors in their particular belief system and culture. So a part of that were certain ingredients for the food that they would eat. They would burn a stick of incense. They would hit the altar and they would just offer up an offering to the ancestors saying, thank you, right? That was part of their culture. So the wife went to the market and the dad, the husband, took the child home. On the way home, he was trying to get the child to call him daddy. And the child was like, you're not my daddy. I don't know you. You're not my daddy. Well, that hurt him, but he understood. I've been gone for 2 years. You've never even seen me in person. I've been at war. And then the kid said, Daddy, my daddy, comes to my mom at night, sits with her at the table. When she lies down, he lies down with her. When she wakes up, he wakes up with her. And this caught the dad off guard. This caught the husband off guard. He said, whoa, wait a minute. I've been gone for 2 years and there's somebody has invaded my space? Are you serious? So when the wife got home from the market, he didn't speak to her. He didn't look at her. He went and sat down his mat. He did all of his ancestral thank yous and went through all the ritual. When he was done, he got the mat. He wrapped it up. He didn't even give his wife time to sit down and do the same thing. She was distraught. Why is he treating me this way? And instead of staying home, he left and he went to the bar, started drinking, started just absolutely ignoring wife and child. This went on for days and days. This went on for a couple of weeks. And eventually, the wife couldn't deal with it, and she actually went and threw herself into the river and drowned, committed suicide. So now this man is left without a wife, and left with a son who won't even call him daddy. And he found a letter. And in the letter, she wrote, "At night, when the light was shining, I would speak to my shadow as if it were you. You would sit with me. And I would say, please come home. I can't keep doing this without you. When I would lie down, your shadow, my own shadow, would lie down with me, and I would pretend it was you. Please come home. When I would rise in the morning, my shadow, I pretended was you. Please come home. I don't know why you've turned on me, and I don't know why you hate me so, but I cannot live with this pain." His own perceptions kept him from reaching out, and his own pride kept him from reaching out and asking her, who is this that sits with you and lies down with you and rises with you? His pride and his own perception kept him from just reaching out to the suffering that he was experiencing. It kept him from talking to her about his own suffering. And you know what? Her own pride kept her from going to him, instead of killing herself, going to him and saying, I'm suffering here. I need your help. See, folks, we need just a little more understanding and a little less preconceived ideas, a little less digging into our own perceptions of what we think is true. One of the aspects of love is compassion. And I believe in the midst of that compassion, it's desiring to relieve the suffering of those you're in a relationship with. Folks, I believe if we're going to really love beyond the veil, we're going to need to dig just a little deeper and dial up the power of love. The power of love is literally the force from which all creation manifests. And we need to dial that up. So again, the 5 aspects: loving kindness, compassion, joy, freedom, and being present. This, I believe, can cause us to raise the love level in this world. If each one of us just does this, just a little bit, dials it up a little bit more. When you think you've loved all you can love some more. Those people that irritate the hell out of you, send them love, send them light, send them compassion. Don't react, respond. Your responsibility, your ability to respond with love and compassion. It's not always easy. Some folks will absolutely push you to the end of the envelope. One of the best responses to a critic is to send them love and light and wish them all the blessings in the world. I didn't used to do that. When folks would call me a heretic, I would get into an argument with them, and I would write a whole novel. I mean, if I had some of that stuff back, oh my God, I could probably put it into a book, publish the book, and it might even be on the New York Times. I just write them a whole book and respond, or react actually. Now, my response is very simple. If you disagree with me, you believe I'm a heretic, you believe I'm a false prophet, all of those things, to you I possibly am, and I'm okay with that. A few years ago, I maybe would have thought the same thing about me, so I get it. Now my response is blessings to you, sending you love and light. Because I believe, Vivekananda said this, and I believe it's true, to try to teach someone who's uninterested in learning what you have to teach or to share with them is an act of violence. So let it go. There's some people who are not going to connect to One Love Spirit Center because they don't believe it's religious enough. They don't hear enough about Jesus. They don't hear enough about scripture verses. We don't require blood sacrifice in this community for you to be connected. We don't require for you to beg for forgiveness of your sins so that you can have a relationship with God. You already have a relationship with God. Religion lied to you about that. So some people will not connect with this, and that's fine. But you know what we need to do? Our love level needs to be so high that when we receive a critique or a judgment or a condemnation, that our response is not to throw that back at them, not to sling mud, but it's to take that mud in, just like the trees take in the carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and they turn it into oxygen. Folks, that will happen if we will study loving kindness, compassion, joy, freedom, and being present. Mindfulness, loving awareness. That's the power that we have. To be able to even say with a smile, I love you. You might not like me, and I may not like you, but I can tell you I love you, and I'll give you the freedom to be who you are. Not that you need the gift from me, but I'm just saying I'm going to give you space. Do your thing. Do your thing. This is, I believe, a part of radical inclusion. Are you ready for that? I am. I'm ready to study that aspect. I'm ready to be so engaged in the power of love that every part of me oozes that. Just love and compassion and understanding. This is the 80-20 I talked about back in 2019. 80% water, 20% solid. When I went into the hospital, they told me that my sodium was really low. It was like 108, and it's supposed to be like 150 or something. I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but 108, it was really low. And they said, you're probably going to start having seizures. So we've got to be really careful with this, and we need to get this, the fluid through the IV, and we need to get your sodium levels up. I had a friend of mine said, brother, you know what your issue is? He said, you got to be a little less peace and happiness and a little more salt. So there's a part of you that's going to be salty at times. There's a part of you that's going to, the song that I sang earlier, look for the good. Sometimes we get mad, and maybe we should. Sometimes the anger is an aspect of it. Just don't allow it to become hatred and malice. Let it be fuel that ultimately brings you back to love. You can actually strongly disagree with someone, oppose their view without hating them. It's a tightrope sometimes. But I believe if we'll study the discipline of compassion and love, and loving awareness, we'll get so good at it, they will just flow with it naturally. This is why the Dalai Lama is so loving, always laughing and smiling. The same with Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh, what a wonderful flower in the garden of humanity. Just absolutely, he just gushes love. Not a profound teacher in the sense of orator. Neither's the Dalai Lama. But the love aspect from those guys, that's what I aspire to be. The love that came from Jesus Christ, that's what I aspire to do. Am I there yet? Nah, you can ask people in my family if I'm there yet. And they tell you the truth. Nah, he's got some work to do. I tell you the truth. I have some work to do. But how about we do it together? How about we keep bringing our minds back to this? We are one love. Let's take a few moments and allow ourselves to just sit with these 5 aspects of true love. Let's sit with these aspects and invite presence, invite pure presence to reveal the depth of all of this to us. I invite you to sit with me now in this loving awareness, this mindfulness practice. And ask Pure Presence to bring all of you into alignment with loving kindness, compassion, joy, freedom, and being present. As we come into this space, we come into this space with gratitude. I am thankful for these lungs that breathe for me, way better than last week even, that breathe for me without me directing or asking. This heart that beats for me without me directing each beat. And I say thank you. And now I allow my heart space to open wide. I allow these aspects of true love to grow within me, and to reach out into the world around me. Loving kindness, compassion, joy, freedom, being present. Teach me, Spirit, teach me. Lead me to practice these things. May I make these things, these aspects of true love, may I make them a habit. And in doing so, create this habitat to live in. Let this amazing grace grow within me, grace toward myself, leading to grace toward others. Guide my thinking, guide my philosophy of life. Teach me to love the way you do. I invite you into this dangerous prayer. This prayer is, teach me, Spirit, teach me to love the way you do. Teach me to love the way you do. And with my whole being, from the deepest part of my soul, I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Now my prayer is, Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk on the water wherever you've called me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in your presence. Spirit of truth, take from me what I don't need. Bring to me what I do need. My whole being is surrendered. And I pray this prayer in the name and the nature of the indwelling Christ. Amen. Om. Namaste, Namaskar. Peace and grace. Amitabha. And so it is. So it is. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I don't know. There was an interruption earlier in our service. I don't know that we ever got back on. We will replay this, watch party it. I will do a bit of a dispute in a loving way to Facebook and to YouTube so that we can make sure that we get this service to everyone who wants to see it and participate in it. Thank you for those of you who were able to stay on and be in this program. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I'll do some investigation. Those of you who have been giving to this community, thank you for your continued financial support. It is necessary. It helps us with all of the equipment that we use for this. It helps us with the platform that we use for this. It helps us with being able to just continue to bring these sessions to you week after week. The way to give is on the screen right now. Our P.O. Box 564, Gray, Georgia, 31032. You can give digitally, safely and securely through PayPal, also through Venmo. Those are kind of industry standard really for digital giving. It's quick and it's easy. You can also utilize our P.O. Box, by the way, for bill pay through your bank. We have a couple of folks who have decided to sign up for that, to just give regularly. They don't even have to think about it. It just automatically comes out of their budget, and you can use that P.O. Box to do that, believe it or not. And so we thank you for giving to One Love Spirit Center. If this is nurturing to your soul, just make that exchange, and we appreciate you doing that. Also have some announcements to make. One, we continue to do our meditation Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Facebook. And also it's uploaded to YouTube so that it can be utilized at any time. We are beginning a book study on our midweek connection. We're going to be going through Brene Brown, her book, Braving the Wilderness. That'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Excuse me. Every Wednesday, starting next week. It's hard to believe we're already through February, but we are. And we're starting that book study next week. You can find Brene Brown's book, Braving the Wilderness, on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, anywhere fine books are sold. You can find that book and go right along with us. It's nice. What I like too also is we're going to be having our board members and leadership going to be on reading the chapters, sharing the things that stuck out to them, so the aspects of that. So it's not just going to be me. It'll be a diverse group of people that are going to be going over these chapters. And I love that because it's going to give you a chance to get to know some of our leadership here, and I think that's really important. We've not set a for sure date for our in-person service, but it's going to be coming up pretty soon. It will be socially distanced. You'll be asked to mask up, of course, because we want to be safe, but we do want to get together in person. And so that announcement will be coming pretty soon. The month of March is Women's Month. Yes! And we're going to be highlighting the powerful and amazing strength and wonderful aspects of the divine feminine. We're going to be looking at women's suffrage and what it has taken to get us to where we are today. I am a feminist. People who think feminism's a bad thing, you need to look up the definition. A feminist is one who believes in equality of women. We should all be feminists. So I'm inviting you into that, and we're going to be celebrating and highlighting that for the month of March is my point. And so I'm looking forward to that. Is there anything else that I may have missed? Okay, then. My wife is giving me the guitar emoji. She's giving me the guitar. She just air guitared me. So that means we need to do our One Love theme song. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Now give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Oh yeah, let's get together and feel alright. Help me sing now. One love, one heart. together and feel alright. Hear the people crying, one love, oh, 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 yeah, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Oh yeah, let's we'll get together and feel alright. Everybody give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. And I'm almost there, vocally. Yep. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I'll feel all right. Now is the time in our service where we go over what I think is really important to set the stage for our daily lives. And this is our affirmation. I affirm that I am inclusive, compassionate, kind, and strong. I am awake, aware, and fully alive. I am pure presence. I am divine. And here's even further than that. I am one love. And so it is. The invitation to you this week is to go and learn to live these aspects of true love. Inject them into the relationships you have. If it doesn't work, quit doing it. But I double dog dare you to try, because I do believe it'll work. Now go and make it a great week simply because you can. I love you, One Love. We are One Love.